Hey everybody, it's Brock and we got a brand new episode of All About. Today we're going to be looking at my tank. A lot has changed with it over the last few months. The first thing you're going to notice, it is a lot more bare at the moment. Before moving the tank, the green mushrooms had absolutely taken over the tank. Every inch of available rock was taken over by a mushroom. While I love the look, I also like to try and grow new corals too. So Dave and I, my boss when I worked at the fish store, made a trade. So I got some new live rock that's basically free of anything in order to grow some new stuff. I was really wanting to film moving the tank. A lot of people have asked for that, but I just needed full focus on making sure everything stayed alive through the teardown process and setting it up. So maybe in the future I'll be able to walk you through that process, but for now I just want to show you how the tank's doing. Everything did survive, which is always a huge blessing. My current stock list in the tank is a gold striped maroon clownfish, one of my all-time favorites to have. I got a pair of maroons back in 2015, so this clown is close to 9 years old now, which is just nuts. I did eventually have to take one of them out as their aggression towards each other was just getting out of control. I thought the clown would host this massive frog spawn I got for the tank, but as of right now, it just swims around it. They hold their ground too. It will bite the fire out of you when doing a water change and you get near its cave. The other fish I have is a Tomini tang. This is such a great tang to have for a moderately sized reef tank. This display is 75 gallons and the Tomini has a ton of room to run around. It loves going in and out of the rock structure, swimming through the caves, finding little bitty tiny crevices to swim through. It nips on the rocks all day long looking for algae, picking at it. Whether it's hair algae, diatoms, I swear he's just picking at everything. They're like a little cow in there. I have to put multiple sheets of dry seaweed on a clip. The tang will just tear it up within a day. It's the queen of the tank and will chase around newcomers for a while, but usually will calm down once they're in there long enough. These tangs can eventually get to about 6 inches. Once they're adults, this one's been in the tank for at least 4 years now, and it's about 4 inches long. The other fish I have in there right now is a 6-line wrasse. I've wanted one of these for a while, and Petco, of all places, had a very, very pretty coloration on one. They have so many reds, greens, and blues throughout, and their eyes are so fun to watch with that little line across them. This fish has been really good about cleaning off the other fish, cleaning up pests, off the corals, just an absolute workhorse in the tank. I've seen in the past where the 6-line will get aggressive, but so far, I haven't seen any issues too much. I do plan on getting some more fish. I just have not decided what exactly I want yet. I want something to catch my eye, something with some cool colors on it, and something really fun that will actually go with the other fish that are in the tank. With these three being in there for as long as they have been together, they kind of are aggressive towards newcomers. For inverts, we have a cleaner shrimp, pretty good sized one too. Every reef needs a shrimp running around. They're great for a cleanup crew, not just for algae, but also cleaning off your fish. They'll set up little workstations around the tank that the tangs and other fish will swim by so that they can get cleaned off. This shrimp goes nuts over feeding time. He's a lot of fun to watch and chase around the tank. I've thought about getting him a partner too, just so he could chase another shrimp around. I'll also have about a dozen bumblebee snails. I got rid of a lot of the rock that had those vermitid snails, but there are still some rocks that I've had since the beginning of starting this hobby that I wanted to keep. You know, I can't believe I'm getting sentimental over some rocks, but seriously, I've kept some for all this time over all the different tanks I've had. Some of these rocks are from the very beginning, but these bumblebee snails have done a great job at keeping those vermitid snails under control for me. Other various snails I have in there, we got some astrias and turbo snails. They've kicked butt against that algae growing around the tank. I really should have taken some before pictures just so you could see how well they did. In the new house, we only had blinds up at the beginning, so I did have a bit of a hair algae bloom with the sun coming in, but no worries, the tangs and inverts were having a blast in there, eating some natural algae for them. It looks 10 times better than it did a month ago. I also have about a dozen blue leg hermits running around. Gotta have those, they're super fun, their personality is really funny. Watching them travel way up into the rocks, standing on top of your heaters in these places you don't even know how they got, and then eventually they just tumble down when they misstep and you see them rolling down the rock structure. The next invert I really want to get is a starfish. A reef safe one, of course. My family loves them, and that would just be a super cool one to add to the tank. My current corals, we got the frog spawn. It's about a 13 head frog spawn bunch here, and the colors are great. It's got those bright neon greens and purple on the tips. Pretty heavy flow on it. Move those tentacles around. It's super pretty though, and I really again thought the clownfish would get up in it since he didn't have an anemone in the tank, but he's still just kind of hanging around it. I also have a pretty large Kenya tree, bright pink, absolutely love it. It's holding on to a piece of live rock that I buried below the sand, so it gives it that really nice look of it coming straight out of the sand. Above that is going to be some orange Rickordia mushrooms. These are Yumas, so they get huge and they spread relatively fast. I've had them for a while. I used to frag them constantly and sell them at my local fish store. What's so crazy is after that heater mess up that I made a few months back, I was left with one single mushroom that was probably as big as a penny. No joke. And then now 6 months later, we have almost 10 of them in the tank. So they're a very resilient coral with some incredible colors on them. The only other coral I have right now is a cabbage leather. In the previous setup, I had him in the corner of the tank to control how much the coral would grow out. But in the new tank, I wanted to give him a nice open sand bed just to see how big he will get. They have really cool shapes and really cool colors on them, so he really stands out, and it's already gotten massive over the last 6 months. You know, the tank is going to be 18 inches in width, and the coral is no joke, taking up 14 inches of that. So just a beast of a grower. We'll see what happens. I might end up having to start to frag him if he gets too big and starts bothering some of the other corals, but as of right now, I'm just letting him let loose. I do want to dive into some SPS corals and learn more and experience more with growing them. The general census is usually that they're pretty challenging. I mean, I had trouble with them even when I worked at the fish store, just keeping them alive in our tanks. So as I start doing that, I'll keep y'all posted, figure out the things that I'm good at, figure out where things can be better, so we can all learn together. And of course, let me know what other corals you think I should try. If you have some that you're kind of scared to get and you want me to try them first, I do not mind. Let me know which ones you want to go for. Equipment wise, the only new thing I've gotten sent in a while really is a Seache Powerhead. Those are an absolute beast of a powerhead. It's super quiet. Really like it. It's not too big, not too small, and it does the job for everybody. Also spent a good chunk of change to get a new lighting setup. So I have two Hydra 26s that are great. They do everything I need them to do. But the wooden canopy I used to have over the tank was just wilting away. Saltcrete destroys them over time. Any kind of water that splashes up on that wood usually will take it out. Now I've had it, for around 6 years before I was like, okay, I need to get rid of this and change to something else. So it lasted a really long time, but I was definitely ready to move on. So I went with the Aqua Illumination Multi-Light Mount Kit. So I had to buy the kit, I had to buy 2 brackets, and then I also had to buy the 48-inch rail. So it was a pretty big purchase, but I think it looks super clean, and I always felt like the lights were just a bit too close to the water in the canopy. So I was really happy with the way it turned out. The other equipment I have is a Reef Octopus 100 hang on the back protein skimmer. And no joke, I think this thing is 10 years old now. So I've definitely got my money's worth out of this one. Those things are really expensive even now, but for me at least, I definitely love them, and it did everything I needed it to do. I have other power heads. They're going to be the Rossmont brand. Those also do really well. Been very impressed with them. One thing I actually love about those Rossmont ones is you can take almost the entire head of the mover off and clean it. So it makes it super easy to keep those things clean of debris, algae, whatever's growing on them. And then, of course, the filter I have is a Forza canister filter with a UV sterilizer that sits at the bottom of the tank. And then I have some Eheim Jaeger heaters. That's really everything I got running it right now. The sand is going to be Carib Seas Hawaiian Black Sand. And the live rock is various. For that sand, though, it has always been my favorite ever since I saw a tank at our store that we did black sand on for a client. Man, it looked awesome. So from then on, I was like, I got to do black sand. And I did it before, and I do it now, and it just really makes the fish pop, makes the corals pop, and I think it just overall, it looks really good. For the live rock, we got pieces of the Carib Sea Life Rock that they make. It's basically these really intricate rocks that make really big arches. They got ones with little frag plugs in them, just really cool shapes that you can make some really cool structures in your tank. So you can see some of these newer rocks, even though they were live rock that I got, put it in a new tank, they're still kind of going through that dino cyano phases, but it's no worry for me because I'm just giving a nutritious snack to those hermit crabs and the snails and the other inverts that can run around and eat it up. My levels have been staying constant. I do a 20% water change every month or every other month, just kind of depending on how bad I need it. Dosing wise, I typically keep my calcium and KH up. Those are the ones I test for about once a month, just making sure they're staying level. Brightwell Aquatics Part A and B has always been a go-to. I've seen other brands out there that are pushing stuff that have also done really good results, so let me know what you're trying out. I've also been tinkering with Aquavitro solutions too. Currently one of the ones that raises magnesium and another that raises pH, and I've seen really good results so far. So I'm definitely just kind of trying some different things to see what works best for my corals in the tank. Food wise for my fish, it's going to rotate between flakes and pellets from New Life Spectrum. They always just had a very high nutrition. They always loved them. The fish would chase them down, eat them up, and it's just got all those good vitamins in it for them. And then I'm always buying a variety of frozen foods from brands like Hickory. We got Omega, San Francisco Bay brand. Fish are eating, a variety of things in the ocean, so why not give them a variety of stuff in the tank setting? For corals, recently I've just been using Reefroids and Fuel. Both of those have done tremendous for me. The corals look plump, they look happy, so I've just been doing that nonstop for them, and they absolutely love it. There's so many ones you can try and test out, and you're really just trying to see which ones really bulk up those corals. You have things like Oyster Feast, Roe Eggs. I mean, there's an endless list of stuff out there that you can try out. For my light levels, I've been playing around with it a lot. I had some trouble with the frog spawn at the beginning, finding out where he'd like to be, what level of lights he needed. I originally had them in a hole in that life rock on the right side of the tank beside the cabbage coral, but it just seemed like there was some chemical warfare going on. The cabbage looked like it was shrinking up. The frog spawn was shrinking up. So I moved the frog spawn all the way to the left side, about mid-range on the rock structure. And then it just seemed like the lights were too much on them. I was like, okay, I'm going to move them to the sand bed, and I'm going to decrease the lighting. And finally, it started stretching out really big like it was in the store. It looked awesome, looked very plump, just looked so much happier where it was. So I got to wipe a bit of sweat off my forehead after that one. I was just really worried for those heads of frog spawn that were going to get too stressed out and might perish, but looks like he came around. He's really enjoying it in the tank now. So I'll also put up on the video, this is the time frame and the levels that it's currently at. I wouldn't follow this to a T right now just because I've been doing a lot of experimenting with it, been trying to figure out what the frog spawn likes, liking what other corals are liking, so don't have an exact for you, but this at least gives you an idea of what they're at right now in my tank. I do plan on slowly raising them up a little more over time to see how everyone likes it. Alrighty, I hope everybody enjoyed this monthly check-in. I'll definitely try to do these more often so you can see the growth of the tank over time, especially now with it having so much more room for improvements and things to add. If you enjoyed this style of video, please let me know, because I will make more of them if you are liking the check-ins. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. We recently hit 18,000 subscribers in the fish community, and I just can't thank y'all enough for that. It means the world to me. Leave some recommendations below for something you want me to tackle in the reef, and any questions you might have. I love helping y'all out. Everybody have a great weekend, and as always, stay safe, be kind, and I'll see y'all later.